what would you have to say to those watching who know you as Hiro, and I guess now know you for all these other roles?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So yes, today I am joined with Joseph May, who has played many roles, of course, in things like Division, Ghost Recon. Very recently, you've been Thomas the Tank Engine a lot. One that really surprised me is because this was a thing of my childhood. So when I was looking up who played Hiro in The Crew 2, and I saw you played Chase McCain in Lego City Undercover, and that really was like, oh, okay, that's very cool.
Help me! Don't worry. You, left and forward. You, back and right. You, left and right, then left a bit more. You, keep doing what you're doing. I like it.
That was one of my favorite things ever, that was.
I do still play that game to this day, every now and then.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love it. And Poles Apart, and of course, the Crew 2's Hiro, who is an over-enthusiastic mechanic who is the main reason many people go to turn voices off in the game in their first sitting.
I knew that was going to happen when I was voicing it. I was like, oh man, I'm going to drive people nuts with this one.
Welcome to Vegas, the only city in the world where you fly in for a drift race. And the first thing you see when you step off the plane is a slot machine.
I totally saw a pizza place first.
Hiro,
Yeah?
shut up.
So how have you been, first of all? Just the last week, month? How are you in general?
I'm fine. I'm actually I think this is going to be my last day of COVID isolation because I had.
I see.
Yeah, I had the old triple jabbed and all that stuff. But I was filming in Serbia the week before last.
Yes.
I'm trying to avoid it, but it's everywhere. And then I got it on the last day I was there, and then it came back and tested, and there it was.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're all good now and coming out of this this isolation of it.
Yeah.
So, what do you? I assume you. How much gaming do you do? I guess.
Let's go with pretty much zero.
Ah, I see. Okay.
I used to game when I was
that.
kid.
Yeah.
I gamed. I loved sports games when I was younger. I'd like NHL hockey, Madden football. I mean, I was into the sports games primarily, and the car racing ones, which I was always crap at. But I love the hockey games and the football games. And then I tried doing deeper dives into harder games, and it wasn't for me.
Of course, yes. Well, this obviously being the Crew 2 was its racing game, Ubisoft, where Hiro actually plays a fairly big role. He's the main one pestering you to complete the whatever, go to check whether you've got parts and loot, and he's actually since then become like a fairly big staple of the Crew 2's sort of community of either joking
a love and hate relationship, I think.
Yeah, of course. Mostly joking either about his pestering voice lines, or just sort of the fact that he is there and such an iconic character in the game. And you've done other Ubisoft roles. You did Division as well as Ghost Recon. And what is it like working with Ubisoft as well as just getting roles in voice acting?
That's a big question. Ubisoft, I mean, I've done quite a few games for them, big games, and had lead roles, and they've always been, from my experience, you don't ever really get to see anybody because you go to a studio and you're working with the director, the engineers, and the people in the room, and then you're talking to somebody down the line. Usually, sometimes there might be someone from Ubisoft there in the room to kind of make sure that you're setting the tone properly and that kind of stuff like that. But largely, I've had a really good experience with them. I did Division 1. I think I remember being on like the initial kind of beginnings of that. It looked nothing like what it ended up looking like.
Okay, yeah.
I was doing a bunch of characters on that, then I did a bunch on that one, and then I came on to Division 2 and then did Manny for a while on that. That was great fun. Yeah, a really good time working with the people there. The crew out of Sweden were really delightful, and they'd come over and I'd hang out with them, and just really easy to work with, and easy to bounce off. And then as far as getting into what was the question of getting into video games?
Getting roles in voice acting in general.
Generally, it's a mixture. I get straight offers. I get some because studios know me, and I think gaming community, gaming developers know me as well.
Yeah.
And then, but I also have to audition like everyone else. I've got to do go in 15 minutes or whatever. Lately it's been down the line, so I've got my microphone there, and then but I kind of soup it up with very fancy duvet which hangs off a thing, so it makes it.
I was gonna say, is there a lot of traveling involved? Obviously, I assume now it's mostly like this, but in just sort of, obviously you've been doing this for so long that, like, is there a lot of traveling involved when it is your voice that's just used?
Sometimes it can be, yeah. I mean, generally I have to go into London to record at studios because they like to be able to control that environment, which is totally understandable, to make sure that they're getting a consistent sound and all that kind of thing. But you do get to travel sometimes. I'm so bad with the names of games. I did a game recently which I don't think it's come out yet, or it's coming out soon. I've been doing that for a few years, and that was going up to Nottingham to do motion capture for that. Then I've had to go do there's The Walking Dead. I went to Sweden and did some motion capture there.
So you've done actual motion capture work for the parts you've played?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I did this one game which actually came out years later, but they canned like the whole, like hundreds of people on it. They developed it, and we'd worked on it. We'd done, I think, 3 or 4 years of motion capture, and I started knowing things were going a little bit wrong when the story kept changing. I was going, this is going a little weird.
Yeah.
And then I think they eventually canned it and then brought it out under a whole different bunch of people. But I've done quite a bit of motion capture as well, which is a lot of fun. Really, really enjoyed that. Did that on Division and a few other games as well. A lot of facial capture as well.
Yeah. So for this specific role, this was with a separate bit of Ubisoft called Ivory Tower, based in France. Obviously, you've listened back to some of the clips of this work. I'm not sure how much you would remember, but is there anything you may remember and could tell us about this specific role as Hiro in The Crew 2?
I remember doing it, and then we kept pushing it, me and the developer, and then I just started saying, I'm going to drive people nuts.
Did you know that the first bridge they built to the Florida Keys from the mainland was for the railroad? It took years before they built something you could drive on.
Absolutely fascinating.
Hiro?
Yeah?
Shut up.
So I'm glad you were conscious of that fact, because I was worried you wouldn't know that people did find Hiro a bit irritating.
Oh no! I figured they'd find him super annoying. I was finding myself annoying when I was doing it, but I totally knew that was going to kind of push some buttons, and it was, in a way, it's quite fun that they kind of pushed it that way to kind of get a reaction, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, at least people know who he is, and they know of him, and they know he's iconic in his effect that he leaves on people.
Yeah, his obnoxiousness.
Yeah, of course. And there's the clip I believe I sent to you is just sort of a compilation of the other characters telling him to shut up.
Do you have any idea how hard it is keeping your hovercraft tuned up with all the crashing and ramming you do out there? You drivers treat these things like they're oversized bumper cars. Bumper cars. I love bumper cars. They're the only place I go where I'm not the worst driver around.
Yeah, I've forgotten about that bumper story, the bumper love story. That was quite fun. That was quite funny. A lot of shut-ups. There's definitely a lot of shut-ups for old Hiro back in the day. But we kind of, I think they were conscious of that as well. And I think we actually toned him down a little bit from where he had started. So, I mean, God, if you can imagine what he was like.
So there would have been a Hiro who was even more...
There's another Hiro version who was even more.
I guess you can be glad he was toned down in the end there.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So I mean,
I'd shut me up too if I listened to that.
Pardon?
I'd shut me up too if I was listening to that all the time.
I mean, yeah. I hear from most players. I recently turned the voices back on when I play, and I hear from most players that I can't believe you still play with voices on in the game and haven't turned them off. But yeah, you haven't obviously done Hiro for a while. Well, how long was that actually for, and from when? Because the game came out in, I believe, mid to summer holidays of 2018. So when were you doing that, and how long for?
It would have been from the year before, probably from 2017. It would have been about 6 or more months of kind of going in intermittently to record different bits and stuff like that. Then there's always the big push when they're getting towards launch where they do some kind of final bits.
Yeah, of course.
Re-records and other, So would have been probably about a year's worth of work from my point of view there.
Yeah.
So,
And you've obviously done work since then, and you haven't done Hiro since then, but just as obviously as someone who plays the crew, and that like voice is in my head when I hear your work as Thomas, and especially I believe I watched a trailer of Poles Apart. In my head, I hear Hiro when that work. Obviously, I assume others who know you from different works would hear different pieces.
yes.
But there's similarities.
Are you sure this is a shortcut?
Yes, Thomas! Keep going!
I can't see where I'm going. It's so nice to finally have some company. You been alone long?
I'm always alone.
And then when I hear Chase McCain, it's just like I still listening to those two. I can't put them together in the slightest.
You, ma'am, I'm gonna need your car.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
How is getting a range, not only getting a range of your voice, but also knowing where in that range to use for which piece. So
that'll be dictated by what the game is entirely, the context of the game.
Yeah.
So something like, say, Nomad and Ghost Recon. I mean, that was like, very straight down the line.
Yeah.
I hunch myself down. I kind of give myself a lot kind of more structure and everything with it.
I am a ghost, an elite soldier. Trained to strike my enemies before they know I exist.
And because you kind of have to get quite physical when you're doing voices as well. So that and some of the other like military games, like the stuff in Cyberpunk I did as well, I think. And then you kind of get a lot more kind of gravitas towards it. And then with ones like Hero, you just kind of lighten it up and you kind of make sure. I have quite a big range actually, so I can go quite high and quite young and quite low and menacing as well. So I kind of like I like being able to do it all.
Yeah. I mean, how long have you been doing voice acting, and what's it even like in the industry, I guess?
I've been doing it since I was living in Vancouver in Canada. Yeah. And but I'd studied acting here in London, and then worked for 7 or so more years, then moved back to Canada with my wife, and then I started getting into it there. I had a great agent who put me into, I think it was like one of the initial Need for Speeds.
Oh.
Like one of the early versions. And this would be like, I'm talking like 2005. So a long time ago. And then I did the Godfather video game, which was, I think around 2008, 2009. And that was, I played Michael Corleone in that, the Godfather. And so did all the motion capture. And that was a lot of work on that.
Yeah.
Welcome, my friend. Are you ready for today? Because today, we'll set a course for all our futures.
What do I need to do?
Clemenza is waiting at the flower shop in Midtown. He will help you with what you need to do.
I won't fail you.
It's our destiny. I know you won't fail.
A lot of fun. And then I moved back here and went straight into like literally the first job I got back. I've been back like 3 weeks, was a lead role in another game, which I can't remember.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it kind of launched right into that. So I've pretty much consistently been doing games now since 2005, I guess.
Wow.
And then other voice work, did animation stuff. Yeah, been puttering about in animation and whatnot for a while, and then I got Thomas the Tank Engine, and then that kind of took off from there too. Weirdly though, how I got Thomas was really strange because I've been doing Battlefield 3,
It's like 2042 is a recent Battlefield that
That's the
came
recent
out.
one. Yeah. This is when I was doing Battlefield 3.
Oh,
I was a voice called Sanders, so I was like the in-game. You played me basically.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
And they had a crazy director there. It was from Sweden called Thomas, who was mad. You'd end up doing like 4 or 5 hour sessions with him, and a lot of improv and swearing and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. You got a lot out. But the engineer on that, somehow, here I was a sweary, psychotic kind of American soldier.
It's quite the difference there, yeah.
Yeah, he recommended me for Thomas, and they brought me in for that.
Yeah.
So I've had it's been great, and I've made a lot of friends. I really love the industry. It's a great, wonderful industry to work in.
Yeah, and I must ask, because again, it was a game that I enjoyed a lot. It was actually the first game that I believe I ever interacted with YouTube on. Was Chase McCain in Lego City Undercover. The first YouTube I ever watched was watching a playthrough of that game.
Oh, the cutscenes are great and all those kind of things, aren't they?
And what was working on that like?
That was the most fun I've ever had on a game, by far.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, by far, because the writer Graham Goring was just hilarious, and you could just do whatever you wanted and play as much as you wanted, and it was just. We just made each other laugh all the time. It was just a joy, pure joy to do. And I got my own Lego character out of it. So that was just.
Oh, did you? Okay.
You destroyed my car. Wasn't wrecking my life enough for you?
You look exactly as I remember you.
Don't try and sweet talk me. I had to change my identity because of you. I even had to change the color of my hair.
You weren't a blonde before?
You what? Ugh.
Yeah,
that is a lot of fun. I can imagine it's. Oh, also, I did see when looking stuff up. I'm not sure because I didn't look too much into it. Has there been many physical acting roles where it's you acting?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I did notice some interviews for some shows.
Yeah, no, I've primarily done a lot of that. I went to theater school here in Lambda, and then I went straight into working on a bunch of TV series over here. Where I was on a lot when you're very young, Sid. How old are you?
I was born in 2003.
Yeah, so a lot, like before that, like before you were even like a little kernel in the parent's eye. I was on the TV screen. I was on shows like Casualty. I was on for a while. I was on Hollyoaks for a long time. God, I was I played English in that.
Yeah, gotta go. You're not going to work, are you? Yeah, they changed my shift. But I had some time off. I've only just started, Sam. I know, but can't you change it? See what I can do, okay?
Then I was in Band of Brothers, and then I've been in lots of other movies. Weirdly, I was in like Resident Evil, the first Resident Evil, which is really strange to see.
The movie?
Oh. Yeah, the original movie, the first one.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, other shows, like lots of other, I was a show called Episodes, which was on BBC and Showtime in the States.
I believe that's the interview that I saw, yes.
Oh, yeah. Did that for, I think, 5 seasons of that, and then...
So you're both in Episodes. First question, who is the father of Myra's baby?
Ooh.
I'm not telling you.
Why?
Because that's the secret.
Do you know?
No.
Who do you think it is?
I was hoping it was me.
Lots of other movies and other regular shows and some terrible shows, some great shows. I just did Ghost of Tinseltown as well, which is on BBC Two. Just did that and some other stuff I just filmed in Serbia. So no, I've been working that and doing theater, and so it's a big mix.
Yeah, and I did also see. It just intrigued me a lot because I saw the trailer for it. Poles Apart.
Yes.
What is that like, and what was it?
Oh, well, that was a wonderful experience. Again, that's a good friend of mine. She was at the National Film and Television School, and she was doing the animation course, and she was doing stop motion, so she had this bear that needed to be voiced, and we kind of talked about it, and then she asked me to do it, and I got to do that with Helena Bonham Carter, which was amazing. And
You been alone long?
I'm always alone.
Oh, that's too bad. We could team up. 4 paws better than 2, right? Here we go. Last of the dried supplies.
It came about just as her short, but ended up winning the BAFTA.
I got a BAFTA, yes.
Yeah, got the Annie Award, which is like best animation, like the international awards. Yeah, so that was an incredible experience, and got to go on stage at the BAFTAs. And
Yeah. Oh, did you? Okay,
Yeah.
that. I can imagine that would be a lot of fun.
And the BAFTA goes to Poles Apart.
This is incredible. Thank you so much to the National Film and Television School, our cast who are here tonight, bringing the bears to life.
There was a lot of fun, really incredible. And then I think they're trying to turn it into a TV series now. So.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a beautiful art style, so I can
It's
imagine
gorgeous. Yeah, it's really, really
Yeah.
good. Yeah. So thanks very much. No, that was a real pleasure to do that.
Mhm. So what would you regard as your best 3 roles? Like, as in what came out of them? Actual acting, the voice acting of obviously both being acting, the physical acting, voice acting. If you had to pick 3 that came out the best, which would be your 3 best roles after Hiro?
Okay, it'd be Andy Button on episodes because that was a lot of fun to do. I'd always wanted to do a lot of TV comedy, and that got me into doing TV comedy, which I do a lot of now, and I really love doing that. So I got to go with Andy Button.
Hey.
Morning.
How are you?
Fine.
No, I know, but how are you?
I'm good. I am. Look, these things happen, especially in our business. Nothing's forever.
Poor Merc. How's he doing?
I wouldn't know.
Really?
Really.
So that's...
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank God. I never understood that anyway.
I'm going to go with Chase McCain because it was one of the most favorite things I've ever done.
Yeah.
Literally just a pure joy doing that. The last one, God, I don't know. I would say Thomas, but maybe Thomas was a great experience, actually. So, and that was quite surreal to kind of play such an iconic character, I think.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah.
So, yeah, seeing kids with the backpacks on and stuff like that, and their face, and I'd have to do like birthday messages for people, and seeing little kids' faces light up.
Oh, that is, yeah.
So I'd say that was definitely it. That's a tough thing to do. I'll probably change my mind in like 10 minutes time, but we'll go with that.
Yeah. Well, what's to come then? I guess that you can say, but what is next? What projects? What's your current projects, and what do you plan to work on?
Oh, okay. Well, I think Dying Light 2 just came out.
I believe it did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It
and
did
I did one character called Barney, but I probably did about 40 characters on that thing. So you have a little game of trying to spot my voice because I play so many people in that thing. And then Toasted Tinseltown, it's on iPlayer right now.
Yeah.
Play a wonderful character called Hoop Cock on that. And then I just did this thing called Miss Scarlet and the Duke, and that was filming in Serbia, and that was a great guest star role in that.
Yeah.
Then I'm about to do another series of All Creatures Great and Small, where I'm doing that. So I'll be back on that, playing Francois the Butler. And then there's some other things which I can't talk about, which are in development and kind of moving down. Yeah, so we'll see. So there's stuff going on. Thank God. Touch wood, it keeps going.
There you go. You have been doing, like, honestly, just even now, and even when I was looking through the IMDb, like, so much different stuff. Like, so much, like, the physical acting, and then, like, just such a different, like, you could grab one role and then another role, and they'd seem like polar opposites of type of people. Because you think of other actors, and there's some actors who fall into a trope where they just play like a type of actor. They play a type of person, and then they keep getting typecast as that kind of person. It seems you've sort of like completely escaped any of that, and you can play sort of any kind of thing.
Which is sometimes to my detriment, probably.
Yeah. In what way?
Oh, just in the way that, if you do have your one, I guess, USP that you keep on that thing, then people will kind of. But I do like to play as broad a bunch of roles as possible, and I've been lucky enough to be able to do that. And I think as I'm getting older now, it's actually increasing more and more because I'm getting, it's great. I'm playing a French butler and that. Then I go off and play this kind of British and then American detective in something else, and then I'm playing like a wild American cocky man on a TV show, and something else. So yeah, the range is thankfully, and also really really light, fun characters as well. So like Andy Button and whatnot. So it's the range is great, and I really really love being able to do that, and hopefully I'll be able to keep doing that.
Yeah.
I find it very fun and not boring.
Well, I'm glad I guess it can keep it fresh as well, because every role can feel like its own role, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like to try not to be me. So when you're acting, it's a lot more fun that way.
I guess so. I guess because you're really getting to play someone else. And well, how much of yourself would you say you have ever put into a role?
Well, I've always a lot of myself into it, for sure. But I don't do method or anything like that. So it's always a lot of the character comes through. But yeah, it's the light and the dark, and if you can kind of play them all, then it's fantastic. And I get to do that with the games too. Get to kind of dive into the dark, and it's quite cathartic to shout and scream and kill people as you kind of
yeah.
but also have a lot of the laugh and be quite light. So it's great.
Oh, one thing I was curious about. So there's the physical acting. And games always intrigue me with just how much voice acting goes into them sometimes. Like just how much, like you said, when you played in a game, but you must have played like so many different characters.
Yes.
It's like, what is that like, just being one of those voice actors for a game that plays just like a full range of a lot of different things compared to, I guess, the oneness. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the challenge. I love the challenge of it. Yeah, I think I love the challenge of it. As I said, in Dying Light, I hope I'm not ruining any NDA advice. I don't think I am. But
I believe the game is out. So
it is out. It's out. So people have spoken. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. They just throw stuff at me. What about this guy? What about this? And then you kind of play around. Oh, this one's ethereal, and so you kind of float around with that, and then you go, oh, that's it, and then you kind of land on a voice, and then you do 15, 20 lines of that, and then they'll go, okay, we got another character, and then they throw you this one, and then you kind of venture through. It's a lot of fun to kind of using your different tones, and yeah, the challenge of it's wonderful. It's great.
Yeah. Okay. Would you ever do a Crew 3 as returning as Hiro?
Of course I would, but would anybody want me back? I don't think they would.
I guess
Would you want me back? Would you be able to have voices on for
I guess as Hiro, I think if Hiro was to return, I think he'd be switched off just as quickly as he is in the Crew 2, unfortunately. Well,
I'd love to do more. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
it's a fun thing to do.
Where can people find you? I guess if they would like to.
I don't do much social media, but I guess Twitter would probably be where you found me. That's
Yes.
probably it, really. I don't do a huge amount. I'll throw in a Wordle score irritatingly, whatever.
I did notice you do a lot of Wordle, yeah.
Then I'll comment on the occasional thing, but I generally don't do a huge amount. But that's where you can find me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is this. I obviously thank you a lot for sitting down with me. Again, I think the initial thing that was just so surprising for me was Hiro and then Chase McCain, which was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
And again, yes, thank you for sitting down with me. Thank you for joining me. It was quite a shock when I tweeted at you, and it was like, oh, okay, sweet. I guess we can do it because it's
fun to talk to people, yeah, and kind of see what's going on out there, especially young people like yourself, Sid.
Thank you.
I gotta stay down with the kids, right? I gotta see what's going on with them.
You don't look a day over, we'll say 27.
Well, thanks. Even this the massive white beard, which is all.
Again, I hope you did enjoy the interview. And
yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
And whatnot.
Good luck with your little YouTube thingy and whatnot.
Thank you. I do plan to see it through. What would you have to say to those watching who know you as Hiro and I guess now know you for all these other roles?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for Hiro. Sorry you've had to endure it.
You know what? I think that is a justified response. Okay.
My heart spills, so I'm cleaning up a mess, yeah. I gotta go to church, feel the demons at my neck, yeah. When I'm on a pill, I be feeling like I'm blessed, it's a curse. When I'm on the drugs, I'm the worst, shawty. Tell me how it feels, tell me does it hurt. Tell me if it's wrong when I'm lifting up your shirt, shawty. Tell me if it's real, or would you leave me in the dirt?